Maybe I should read books for like my own age demographic. I read a lot as a kid, obviously, and since the Ever After High and the Monster High books were so well received, I thought it would be a great idea to revisit books from my childhood and analyze them with my critical adult brain. Poison Apple was a series that I read in my childhood because obviously look at them and then look at me. They are spooky middle grade books made by Scholastic with kind of like gothic horror themes embedded into them. And like, you know, Scholastic, the people that made the book fair with the silly erasers. Poison Apple, I assume, was supposed to be a counterpart to Scholastic's other book series, Candy Apple. Candy Apple books are Scholastic paperbacks that are really lighthearted in themes compared to these books that I have in my hands now. There are a lot of Candy Apple books actually, and they deal with themes of like friendship, popularity, crushes, you know, just general pre-teenhood. However, Candy Apple doesn't really acknowledge a wide demographic. The creepy girls. The creepy, weird middle school girls that are the backbone of this very society. I was a creepy girl as a kid, like I said, look at me. I was mostly just weird. I loved black and spooky themes and outfits, like think of Hot Topic before anime was cool in the West. I was also weird, obviously. Look at this shelf that's next to me. I have a Vegeta figurine shooting Hatsune Miku. As a weird kid, I wasn't interested in the motifs that books like Candy Apple had to offer. I wasn't interested in a lot of things that other little girls were doing. There's a reason I grew up on these books. To me, it perfectly felt, at least aesthetically, the divide that I was feeling in my personal middle school days. Candy Apple was more abundance in books, yeah, but they didn't really speak to me as a kid with their preppy outlook and, you know, themes of friendship and whatnot. Ew. And maybe Scholastic saw this and wanted to make paperbacks for creepy girls. Side note, that's kind of unrelated, but kind of totally related. They also have another book series called the Rotten Apple books. And just by looking at these descriptions, I don't really see a difference between these and the Poison Apple books, and I kind of don't understand why they're their own series, but anyway, I digress. So honestly, with reading through these books and remembering them, I don't really know if they're creepy girl approved. Some of the elements of these Poison Apple books kind of feel like Candy Apple books, but with a darker motif and aesthetic. So in this video, I will be reading the 3 Poison Apple books that I read myself when I was about like 9 or 10 and telling you if I think they really are creepy girl approved. The 3 books I will be talking about today are Misfortune by Brandy Dowry, At First Bite by Ruth Ames, and Her Evil Twin by Mimi McCoy. Let's dissect these Astrocaramel style and see if they are creepy girl approved. Let's start off with Misfortune. I thought about starting with this one first because I thought this one was going to be a little more mundane relative to the other ones, but it was kind of cool in its creepy themes. Misfortune follows a girl named Zoe and her best friend Mia after Zoe gets cursed by going to get her fortune read at a carnival. The day starts along fine. She's getting along well with a boy because carnivals are the pinnacle of a middle school girl's experience. Before her and her best friend leave for the day, they decide to get their fortunes read by a fortune teller named Serafina. This creepy woman with a whimsy goth-like tent reads them their fortunes using tarot, which is why I have my tarot cards here. I thought they would be cheeky and cute. Mia gets a great reading while Zoe, who kind of made fun of the whole thing, gets a pretty horrible one. Zoe is then given a literal cursed amulet by this woman. Like, she puts it on Zoe and recites an actual curse, and then the girls just leave. Stuff like accidents start to happen to Zoe, like she falls off her bike and she almost gets hit by a car. And like misunderstandings with the boys she likes start to happen, and it's all around just like pretty bad luck. Before I move on, before I go anywhere else, I have to read you an actual line from this book. Zoe loved having an iPod and a computer of her own, but having a real relationship with her mom would have been worth the trade. Cool thing about this narrative that I really like is that Mia is by her side throughout the entire story. Like, she's with her throughout this entire ordeal. She doesn't have to face the situation alone. They both try and figure out what's going on to Zoe, and Zoe is just not alone in this horrifying situation she's in. I really like that. It was really cute to see. I really like the friendship between these girls. I don't know if that's supposed to be them there, but if it is, cute. They try together to research how to stop this, and they find like some magical spell after browsing like Reddit or something. And they find out how to do the spell, and like the curse is lifted by these two 12-year-old girls doing like honest to God witchcraft. Like she has to get venom from a snake, hair from the lady that gave her the curse, feathers, earth, water. It's like actual witchcraft that these 12-year-old girls are doing in her bedroom during a sleepover. That is some creepy girl stuff. Hallelujah. The creepiness is there. I will give that to this story. Like, from Zoe almost getting hit by a car to her entire oven lighting on fire and almost, you know, burning her house down. Like, these are nerve-wracking life or death situations. The tension is there. It's there. Narratively, the only thing that bugged me is that when the girls have to find the fortune teller again to, you know, get the piece of hair and the snake venom, it's really easy. Like, none of Zoe's bad luck really interferes in that situation. But that's probably just like my adult nitpicking brain, so it's honestly whatever. So Miss Fortune has some good foundations for a good creepy girl rating with witchcraft, bad luck, and absent motherhood. Sorry, Vegeta. The next book we have is Her Evil Twin. This book I was really surprised by because not only is it exponentially creepy compared to the other two, but the narrative validates it in like a really cool way that I kind of think was a neat choice. We start with Anna Diablo, who is very concerned with popularity and having a lot of friends. To the point where she's kind of getting tired of her lame friend Dory, who only just wants to watch movies and do like dual Halloween costumes. She just thinks it's lame and she's over it. Because, you know, being 12 or something. She's actually so mean to her friend. For no, like Anna's genuinely really mean to Dory for no reason, and it kind of upsets me. Anna is so concerned with becoming popular that she accepts an offer to meet in a haunted bathroom in the school to join a club. Dory follows her but gets spooked out and leaves, and the mean girls that lured Anna in there try to get her to hold a flashlight on her face and say some weird stuff in the mirror. Obviously, this was all designed to be a trick, and they were just gonna, like, I guess, dump shaving cream on her and try to scare her or something. But instead, Anna actually does recite the words, and she sees something in the mirror and faints. Dory finds her and explains that she was probably just going to be pranked, and Anna is once again very depressed that she is a loser. For a book series that's, like, designed to be, like, really creepy and really, like, aww, Why does she care so much about being who cares? Anna's feelings change when she meets a girl named Emma Diablo. Emma is a cool girl that ditches school to get pizza and root beer. She doesn't go to class, she doesn't do her homework, and she doesn't listen to what anybody says. Emma and Anna start to hang out and they become the bestest of friends. Look how cute they look here, besties. They do like really rebellious things like throwing sauce in a water balloon from the roof, and like ditching school and dining and dashing and stealing. It's a lot. They do a lot of bad things that 12-year-olds maybe shouldn't be doing. I was reading this book series and I definitely wasn't ditching school, or I was a loser. I was a loser, so I don't know. Slowly but surely, Anna notices that there's something weird about Emma, obviously. She doesn't actually like go to class or carry a book bag with her, and the locker that she says is hers isn't even hers. Anna starts to get in trouble for things that she just has like no recollection of doing. One of those things is spray painting Dorky Dory on Dory's front lawn. Like vandalized her front lawn, and it says Dorky Dory. Really cruel for a Scholastic. I don't know. That's cruel in my eyes. And Anna's like legitimately angry when Dory accuses her of doing this, because Dory accuses that she saw Anna do it. And she feels that Dory is just jealous of her hanging out with Emma. So she accuses her of this horrible thing. Like, She says she deserves to be bullied by the student body, calling her Dorky Dory, because she falsely accused Anna. The worst main character. Why is she so rude to her friend for no reason? Like, thank you, Scholastic. This is some good moral standing. So, of course, our understanding so far is that Anna's kind of just slipping a little bit. And she's actually doing these things, and she's just kind of blaming it on Emma. She's just imagining Emma being there, kind of like a devil on her shoulder, not really there, but telling her to do all these things. Because nobody else has actually ever seen Emma. She's not in the student body record. Nobody has ever heard of her. So it is revealed by Anna's mom that Anna did have an imaginary friend named Emma when she was a kid, when she didn't have any friends. And whenever Anna did something bad, she would blame it on Emma, or tell that Emma told her to do it. So, of course, our understanding so far is that Anna is just kind of losing it a little. Maybe that fall she took in the bathroom when she fainted, and she's just doing all these mean, heinous things, and imagining that Emma's with her, telling her to do these things like a devil on her shoulder. Until Anna finds a picture of her and Dory from an old Halloween. In the picture, Dory looks extremely worried, like genuinely afraid of something, while Anna is just smiling and doesn't really realize what Dory's seeing, and doesn't really realize the fear that Dory's having. Later that night, Dory falls down the stairs and breaks her collarbone and arm, to the point where she has a bump on her collarbone that becomes a worry spot for her whenever she's anxious. Anna concludes that Emma was the one that pushed Dory down the stairs that night, and that she is going to strike again, and that she is going to hurt Dory again. She races to find Dory in the Halloween party, and she sees her walking to a bathroom. Anna goes into the bathroom, but there's no sight of Dory anywhere, so instead she turns to her reflection. Her reflection staring back at her is, of course, Emma with her bright silver eyes. This explains why Anna has always felt watched. It's because Emma has literally been watching her through this mirror. It's really creepy, actually. She's soon grabbed by Emma and dragged into the mirror, being dragged by Emma into this mirror. And she's only stopped by Dory, who grabs her other arm and drags her back into this world, I guess. The biggest twist of this all is that Dory knew the entire time that Emma was real, because Emma, when Anna and Dory were first becoming friends, would pinch Dory or try to scare Dory so she would go away and Emma could have Anna. That's some creepy nonsense right there. I will not lie. That is a horrifying concept. Just the subversion of thinking Anna's an annoying kid that just wants to get away with trouble, to learning that she has a shadow entity attached to her that was planning to kidnap her and essentially just live their lives together because this shadow entity was obsessed with her. Right? That's the implication, because if Emma was actually real, was she ever an imaginary friend? Was she a genuine entity, then this entity got attached to her? The implications are crazy, and it's such a good twist, and there's so many ways you can think about it, and I love that it's just not really explained as much as it kind of needs to be. I just have to applaud this one for taking such a dark step in its creepiness. Last but not least, First Bite. This is the book that I vividly remember from my childhood, and I don't know if it's because it took me so long to read it, or I just reread it so many times that I remember it really well. But this one was my favorite poison apple book growing up. Don't really know if I can say the same for the present day. We start with our main character, Ashley, who is a vampire through genetics. Essentially, when she was 12, her teeth started to hurt and she started to become blurry in pictures and was invited to be initiated into the Vampire Society. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this 12-year-old girl drinking blood? God, I wish. No, instead she drinks a vampiric council-approved substitute called Sangha. Sanga, 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 Sangra. But no, there's no R, so it's Sanga. Sanga? A blood substitute. It's supposed to be a blood substitute, but I immediately call BS. A blood substitute? How do you substitute blood? Would that not just be blood? Just like a little bit diluted? Because in this book, it says that it's really red and looks exactly like blood. I'm not convinced that it's not just blood from like a hospital or a bank drive or a morgue, and they're just not really telling anyone where it came from because, hey, as long as you didn't have to hunt it, you shouldn't really care where it comes from. That was really intense, and I didn't mean to get that intense. I mean, hey, it's a substitute blood. Like, the plot of this is that Ashley is moving to California because her celebrity mother is getting a new show because she's like a Judge Judy type of character. And she's excited so she can start a more semi-normal life than the vampiric one she's been living in New York ever since she turned. She describes that she isolated herself, and because of that, she lost her title of fashion queen, it's very tragic. And based on this outfit, you can tell. I mean, like, do you see these leggings? All right, girl, I believe you. If no one else believes you, I believe you. I believe you, Ashley. This girl is like a stereotypical, like, popular mean girl. Just, she's a vampire. Like, that's how she lived her life before she was turned, and she's honestly very excited to get back to that exact same life over in California. Like, she literally said that she's used to just, like, ordering around her friends. And that her friends always listen to her. So she's not used to her friends not listening to her. Really relatable character, Scholastic. Thank you. So she wants that rich white girl power under her fingertips again. So she is going to try and embrace this new start in California. She decides to embrace this brand new start by going to the beach and tanning, which doesn't go well when a boy politely tells her at the beach that she is absolutely burning to a crisp. She comes out so red, blotchy, all over her skin, and like, obviously, you're a vampire. I don't understand why that wasn't even a concern for you. Even if that has never happened to you before, be a little superstitious, okay? You are a fictional creature. Anyway, her introduction to the popular girls just don't go well. They call her Rashly, and it's just... sorry, girl, it's just not gonna work out. She's comforted by this one girl named Sasha that's the only black character in the book besides her brother and her family. And the first thing that Sasha thinks about her is that her outfit clashes and is tacky, and she's definitely not popular. Thank you, Scholastic. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, Ashley meets Sasha's brother, Mark, and she realizes that if she is sitting at the loser table at lunch, which I don't understand what the problem is. Like I said before, weird middle school kids are the backbone of this very society. The plot in this book essentially is that there are dark ones in California, and dark ones are essentially vampires that actually do hunt and drink human blood. And being a dark one is kind of draining because once you are initiated to be a dark one, you get a taste of human blood. If you don't continue to hunt, you actually become like really sick, like flu-like symptoms. So attacks start happening way more, like with the janitor being attacked in school. And like he literally has like puncture wounds on his neck and describes how a bat came at him and somebody calls him crazy. He has puncture wounds in his neck. Could you imagine that poor man? 2 perfect puncture wounds in your neck and you say a bat came at you and you're called crazy. At your own place of work. More attacks happen and become like more violent as Ashley joins a theater production as the wardrobe master, because the house she's lived in is actually the house where the film they're doing the play based off was filmed, which that means she knows everything. She's the end-all be-all of wardrobe design. She finds out that Mark is a vampire and Sasha isn't because, like I said, vampire genetics. And they figure out together that the theater teacher was the dark one all along, in a pretty cool explanation of his dreams were crushed because when he turned 12 he no longer like appeared on camera and stuff, so he couldn't be a child actor, so he had to be a miserable middle school theater teacher. Yada yada yada. All the vampires basically corner him, the Vampire Council, because Sasha and Mark's mom are on the Vampiric Council, corner him during the play, and as the climax of the play hits, they all turn into bats and take this criminal away. And Ashley learns that you don't need to be popular to be happy, I guess, is the lesson she was forced to learn. She actually ended up being nice to like the popular girls that were kind of standoffish to her, so I guess no bad blood. I will admit she learns more of a lesson than like Anna does in her evil twin, because in her evil twin, Anna just kind of gets her life saved by Dory, and she's like, oh, Dory, you want to be friends again, I guess. Like, she doesn't really learn anything. And like the creepy factor for this was just, it was lacking. Like, it was just substitute blood. Like, very, very creepy girl low ratings for a book that the main character is a literal vampire. I guess I wasn't a true creepy girl as a kid, because I don't understand why this was my favorite book. This main character is wow. It was kind of boring, but if you watch some of my other videos, you will understand that I just didn't have the best taste in books as a kid. I truly wasn't media literate until like probably 15. Compared to the other two, this book doesn't really blow me away. And for the wrap up, are these books creepy girl approved? No, absolutely not, no. The thing I don't like about these books is how focused these characters are with popularity. I was kind of excited for them to be different, I guess. I mean, hey, they're putting the concepts of like witchcraft, shadow entities, and vampires into books for middle school girls. So I don't know, I was just expecting a little more from the main characters. The main characters just kind of felt like characters you would see in a candy apple book. Just more creepy things and experiences were happening to them. The only one that really isn't too bad is Misfortune with Zoe. It wasn't my favorite on the creepy scale compared to Evil Twin, but I really did like Zoe as a character. Like, she had goals and aspirations that weren't just like, you know, being popular or achieving high social status. Also the fact that she just has a best friend that she's cool with, that supports her and cares for her. I don't know, it was kind of refreshing to see. As opposed to like these two girls that are just really rude and standoffish to the people in their life sometimes. Especially Anna. Anna got on my nerves like you would never believe. Why are you so mean to Dory? I hated the emphasis in this book of trying to be popular. Who actually cares? At least in First Bite, she like inherently learns her lesson and realizes that everyone can just sing Kumbaya by the end of it. But it still, in my opinion, takes away why people would want to read these books over the Candy Apple series. And look, I'm not saying that everybody 9 to 12 that picks up these books is necessarily an outcast. I don't know, just for a series that aesthetically looks like this, I just expected a lot more. These are weird books with weird concepts, and I just wish the demographic of girls that would potentially pick these books up were considered just a little bit more. Because I don't know, if you're like 9 reading a book about a shadow demon, I don't really think you care necessarily about popularity or social status. Like, yeah, the themes of popularity do work in their respective narratives, especially for these two, but I just wanted weird main characters. These girls weren't weird. They're just not weird enough for me. Give us weird, creepy main characters. And sure, I understand the argument of appealing to a wider demographic. You can't shut off, yada, 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 but the Candy Apple books are right there. And that's appealing to a lot. Let the weird girls have their special little niche. Just one. Just one. At the end of the day, does it really matter? No. I would still recommend these books to anybody of the actual age demographic. Just because they were well written, the plot progressed nicely, even though I did have my faults with the main characters, they still did their job. And these books still taught, you know, notable themes of accepting yourself, accepting who you are, that girls that are 9 to 12 maybe need to hear. And you know, I gotta give credit to Scholastic. I only read 3 of these books because these are the books that I read in my childhood, when in total there are like 12 Poison Apple books. And some of them obviously came out when I was a little older than the 9 to 12 demographic, so I just would not have gotten a chance to read those. So I can't truly judge the series in whole without me reading all of them, but just from these 3 books, could have been a little creepier, could have been a little weirder. I don't know how to end this video. Maybe I should read books for like my own age demographic. If you stuck around long enough to hear my lukewarm takes on middle grade books that came out in the early 2010s, you're a real one, and I really appreciate you for that. I have been Astro, and I am really bad at outros.